ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਮਿੱਟਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਰਮਨਦੀਪ ਜੀ, ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਆ?
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਵਧੀਆ ਜੀ, ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਵੰਡਰਫੁਲ। ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਵੈਦਰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆ ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ ਚ?
ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ ਅੱਜ ਤਾਂ ਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ।
ਓਹ ਬਿਊਟੀਫੁਲ, ਓਕੇ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਓਕੇ, ਸੋ ਦੈਟਸ ਆਸਮ। ਮੈਂ 1968 ਤੋਂ 70 ਤੱਕ ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ ਚ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ।
68 to
70 ਤੇ ਫਿਰ 74 to 76 2 ਸਾਲ ਫਿਰ ਰਿਹਾ।
ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੋਟੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਜੀ।
Yeah, 68 ਚ when we landed on July 27th 1968,
right,
it was very sunny day ਸੀਗਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਔਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ, ਹੀ ਸਟਿਲ ਇਜ਼ ਇਨ ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ।
ਰਾਈਟ।
ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਫੀਸਰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ, ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਵੀ ਵਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਯੰਗ, ਆਈ ਵਾਸ ਓਨਲੀ 18 years old, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ ਨਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਠੰਡਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਅਸੀਂ ਓਵਰਕੋਟ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਪਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਜੁਲਾਈ ਚ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਏਅਰ ਸਟੂਅਰਡੈਸ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਵੀ ਇਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਦੈਟ ਕੋਲਡ, ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ somebody gave you the wrong information, it's really very warm outside।
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ।
ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਲੈ, ਐਵੇਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਡਰਾਤਾ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਫੀਸਰ ਨੇ। ਫਿਰ ਆ ਗਈਆਂ ਨਵੰਬਰ ਦਸੰਬਰ, ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਚੱਲ ਕੋਟ ਦੀ ਕੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ, ਉਈਆਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਘੁੰਮਣ ਚਲੇ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਆ। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਸੀਗੀ -30।
ਰਾਈਟ ਜੀ।
ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ, ਪੋਲਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਘੁੰਮ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ। ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਨਿਕਲੇ ਸੀ, ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਇਰਨ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਤਕਲੀਫ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਘੁੰਮ ਹੀ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵਾਟ ਆਰ ਯੂ ਡੂਇੰਗ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, RCMP ਆਫੀਸਰ ਸੀ, ਲੰਬੇ ਲੰਬੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਟ ਪਾਏ। ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਫਾਰ ਅ ਵਾਕ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਰ ਯੂ ਕ੍ਰੇਜ਼ੀ, ਯੂ ਆਰ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਫਾਰ ਅ ਵਾਕ, ਗੈਟ ਬੈਕ ਇਨਸਾਈਡ ਯੂਰ ਅਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ। ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਯਾਰ ਇਹ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆ, ਘੁੰਮਣ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ। ਘੁੰਮਣ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਇਹ। ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਫਿਰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ, ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਕਲਚਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਈ ਵੀ ਓ ਮਾਈ ਗॉड, -30 ਮੀਨਸ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਰੀਅਲੀ ਫਰੀਜ਼।
ਹਾਂਜੀ। ਮੋਟਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਏਦਾਂ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੋਇਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਆਇਆ। ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਿਸੀਸਾਗਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਜੀ, ਤੇ ਬਸ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਡਰੈਸ ਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਪਾ ਕੇ -45 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ।
ਓ ਮਾਈ ਗॉड।
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਗਲਤ ਬੱਸ ਫੜ ਲਈ, ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੁਰਨਾ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ, ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਭੁੱਲਿਆ ਨੀਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ।
Oh no, I know. These are experiences which ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਏ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ।
That's true ਜੀ।
ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ। You just have to live through it, that's all।
ਜੀ ਜੀ। ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ ਮੋਟਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ, we have Jyoti Kalsi on the call. Jyoti will be hosting the program।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਤੇ she will be our host, and so she will be running the whole show।
Wonderful, awesome, awesome, awesome।
Welcome to our show, first of all. I've heard quite a bit good things about you from Ramandeep ji, and read online, obviously. So I'm actually feel obliged to be the host and get to.
No, this is fine. This is excellent. I usually do, I don't remember, I think on the first Thursday of every month I do a parenting session. It's usually on Facebook Live.
I see.
So we can partner, and you can kind of tell the audience too if they want to participate.
Right.
Yeah. So we do a lot of webinars for seniors as well. So we are hiring 2 additional social workers to work with seniors globally. So we can have also seniors from Winnipeg. Also, they can join via Zoom as well. So if there are no seniors that would like to participate in education, we would also love to have them participate as well.
I think more than ever we need this information and online support at this time, right? And keep that motivation up, keep that positive spirit going. Yeah.
And I think
so I guess we're just waiting for everybody to tune in and join in.
Not a problem.
The viewers that we have received the confirmation for.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Yeah. So we're also dealing with a higher number of mental health, stress-related cases also that have skyrocketed.
Right.
I don't know. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਦੱਸੋਗੇ ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ problems ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, because we are just dealing an epidemic of problems related to rent and related to lack of jobs that they can work, and serious issues around their academic adjustment during COVID. So
exactly.
Really, it's been a nightmare.
Nightmare for them to figure out things, and most of the students, like Jade, they end up doing like jobs to fill up and get that cash flow going on, and things shutting down, it just kind of messes up everything for them.
Exactly.
So it affects them mentally, other than the things that you see. Okay, financial crisis comes in, academic that they have to manage on their own online and figure out things, right? Some students do need a face-to-face, that interaction to get through things. Yeah. So I guess,
sorry, go ahead, Jyoti.
I was just going to say, like, I guess we should actually start, and so that we can make best use of time that we have with Baldev Mutaji.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So again, like, hello to everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join in. I know this is the first time you see this face, unless we have met or somewhere in the Winnipeg. I'm happy to have you all join here. So a little bit about myself. I'm the newest member of Indian Association of Manitoba, resident of Winnipeg, and a mother of 3-year-old myself. So more than anybody else, I am myself looking to this session today, and very happy to see this COVID Seva come into a reality. And I guess it's a good timing that we have Baldev Mutaji doing this opening session with us, with this entire initiative that Ramandeep and India Association members have taken on. So again, I will move on to our guest's introduction to give everybody a little bit background. Again, we are in a very, very good hands today. Baldev Mutaji, he is the CEO of PCHS, an organization involved in providing health and social services to South Asian community. And again, said that he's one of the leading counselors around the world and has done amazing work in providing support to our community, be it addiction, health problem, mental health, youth and children program, or parenting program, and many more. The list is long for sure, but again, the one that we have focused our session today is basically how can we manage and talk to the children with this different situations that they are put to. Again, no doubt it's not only the children, again, parents are taking on too much, right? So it's just managing that act of balance for both ends. Again, not taking much of your time, I would like Mutaji to say a few words and shine light on this.
Okay. Do you want me to speak in Punjabi or in English?
I would prefer if it can be English, just so we have other community people. And again, I did want to request first, if it is okay, that we could record this, just for
absolutely.
Some people are not able to join or maybe having technical issues, and we want to run it online after the fact.
No,
yeah, and
fine.
English, just because there are different community people we have. Sometimes language becomes a barrier.
Okay, that's fine. So please go ahead and record. And then if you can give me access to share the screen, that would be lovely as well.
Sure. So Ramandeep Ji is the admin, I guess. So if you can do that.
Just make me a co-host, and then I will and then I will make some introductory remarks as well. And I will share the screen so that people can then see that as well. Okay,
perfect.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So stage is all yours.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So I guess the presentation is around how do we manage our children during COVID. That's the kind of the gist of the presentation. So I was just looking at it. So some introductory remarks. So the first thing that we have to do is one of the biggest challenge that as parents we face, and I have raised 3 children in Canada, and I have also now 3 grandchildren. One of my child has a child, so I'm a father of 3 grandchildren. So the struggle that we all face as parents and grandparents is, to what extent do we want our children to be independent? And to what extent do we want our children to be dependent? in India, predominantly, our children are often very, very much dependent on us. So they look towards us for guidance, and we are the ones that guide them throughout their life, and even asking them if we have knowledge about which university to go to, which career to go to. And predominantly that's how they reflect. And then we have some discussion with them at the time when it's appropriate to get married, and we seek their opinion. And we play a heavy dominant role in the upbringing of a child, whether the child is 2 years old or whether the child is 30 years old.
Sure.
In Canada, that creates a big conflict with our children. So the conflict happens around is that when a child starts going to the public school system, immediately the child is given choices. So the child is basically allowed to develop the ability to say no, or to ability to choose an alternative. And that brings out a severe contradiction in our children when they come home, because when mom says it's time to eat, the child wants to negotiate with the mom. Mom, can I have 5 more minutes? Can I have 10 more minutes? I'm really not hungry at this moment. Can I eat maybe half an hour later or 15 minutes later? And our parents are unable to accept the negotiation, because they feel that the food has to be eaten hot. Don't make the food cold. I have now prepared everything. You better adjust to my schedule and let's eat. And the child, because the child has learned from school, I can negotiate, and at home we are not giving them the ability to negotiate, and we have a conflict emerging. So the first thing that parents have to somehow come to an agreement between husband and wife is, to what extent are we allowing our children to develop into an independent being? That's very important. Otherwise, you will constantly have to end up negotiating with your children around everything, around getting up, around sleeping, around eating, around cleaning the toys, walking out, coming in, dressing, not dressing, all those issues. You will have a push and pull going on. So the first thing that I would recommend in my opening remarks is, please sit down as mom and dad and agree on what is it that you're willing to negotiate and what is it that you're not willing to negotiate. So at a very young age, it is very important. If you believe in your heart, we don't want our child to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, make sure you start talking to them at age 5. If you don't talk about what you value at age 5, don't expect that you will be able to change their value system at age 16, when they will be ready and they will say, Dad, I'm going out with my girlfriend, or I'm going out with my boyfriend. It will be very difficult for you to change at that time, because they would have their value system already deeply ingrained. So that's point number 1. So have a discussion. What independence would you allow, and what independence would you not allow, has to be very clear to the child. And you can say, yes, we understand you're going to school and your teacher gives you a great deal of independence, but this is not school, this is home, and here certain things have to be done differently.
Okay, so set the guidelines that this is acceptable, this is not.
This is not. It's very clear. The second thing, the opening remarks I would like to make is, it's very important for a child, whether the child is 3-year-old or whether the child is 30-year-old, really does not matter. You have to set some rules around the house. What is acceptable rule? For example, when I get calls from parents, I have a 16-year-old child and he's not going to school and he's getting into trouble. he is not sleeping. He's sleeping 2 o'clock in the morning, and then he can't get up. And then there is a fight in the morning, and we are fed up with this guy. Can you please help us? Now, this whole situation develops because we have not set the clear guidelines at age 5. Now, this is what happens in our households generally. I mean, there may be a couple of exceptions, but predominantly this is what happens. From Monday to Friday, we are really very good. So we make sure our kids are on time. We feed them on time. We give them a bath. We put them to bed. We get them up in the morning. We get them going. Then comes a Saturday, Sunday. All our parties, our events before COVID, I mean, we used to go to people's home, people used to come to us, and our children will be also hanging around us till 9, 10, 11 o'clock, because we are all downstairs, and the children are also running around there, and we start our dinner late. And so nobody leaves before 10, 11. And as a result, the sleep time of a child gets disrupted on Saturday and Sunday. Come Monday, the child gets a routine back. Saturday, Sunday, it gets disrupted again. Monday to Friday, the sleep pattern is fine. And Saturday, Sunday, the sleep pattern is disrupted. This cannot happen. If you want your child to have a disciplined attitude towards life, you as parents make sure that whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, a wedding party, or whether it's a birthday party at your house or somebody's house, the child is in bed at the same time that you normally put them. If you don't do that, be prepared that your child will start waking up at night till 2, 3 o'clock in his bedroom, and you will have trouble telling him to go to sleep because his sleep has already been disturbed, and there is no rhythm in his body to fall asleep. And that's what we are seeing across Canada. Parents complaining that our teenagers are not sleeping on time. They are on their internet, they're hiding in their bed, and they are still texting till 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so this has become very common. Rule number 1, put the child in bed. And rule number 2, parents need to say on Saturday and Sunday, same thing goes. Guys, you're going to be in bed again. Okay, so this is very important, because if we don't do this, then we are going to be in for a rude awakening when the child reaches 12. And I'm going to give you the third point. The third point on is the 12-year-old. So in Canada, after 12, a child can say to the doctor, Mr. Doctor or Miss Doctor, please do not share my health information with my parents. And now you're going to be really, really in for a rude surprise when the doctor says, and you ask the doctor, well, how is my son or my daughter? And the doctor says, sorry, your child has just told me I cannot disclose patient. It's a patient doctor privilege. I cannot violate it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you. So before that happens, at age 12, I want you to do the following. So that your child is not in control. You are in control as parents and grandparents. You need to understand that you need to put responsibilities on the child when the child is 3 years old. If you do not put responsibilities on the children at age 3, the child will develop an heightened sense of entitlement, and they will start demanding. When they are 4 years old, they will demand a little bit smaller things. Then they grow 5, 6, and up to 12. And at age 12, when their personality starts to really change, their sense of entitlement come up, and they will ask things like, if you don't give me a cell phone, I'm not going to go to high school. If you don't give me $10 for me to go and watch a movie with my friend, I'm not going to come home.
So I'm going to interrupt here a little bit. When you say give them a responsibility at age of 3, so you're telling them, like, if I'm interpreting it correct, like make them feel it earned, or that it doesn't come for free. Like, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so so what we need to give them responsibility is, at age 3, the child can eat by himself, herself.
Right.
Are we spoon feeding at age 3, or are we letting the child eat? That's first responsibility.
Okay.
The child can take a bath at age 3. You have to supervise, but let the child take care of himself or herself. And yes, we need to kind of give them shampoo and stuff, but give them the responsibility. It's your responsibility to take care of your body.
Okay.
We don't do that. We take the responsibility of giving the child a bath. The child does not accept any responsibility. In fact, the child may not like to take a bath at the time you want to give them a bath. So they have to develop a sense of responsibility. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Mom has always given me a bath at 6 o'clock. It's now 6 o'clock. Mama, let's go and give me a bath. That's what I want to hear in homes, but that's not happening in our homes.
Yeah.
So mom is the one that is saying, okay, bacheo, chalo, let's go for a bath. And then they reluctantly, sometimes they agree, and sometimes they say, no, mom, do we have to take a bath? Can I do it in the morning? I'm really playing now. And they come up with all these excuses because really we have not given them the responsibility that it's your responsibility to take a bath. Don't come up with excuses. We don't come up with excuse. Even if we are sick, we get up, we dress up, we take a Advil, and we go to work. Why? We have a sense of responsibility. And the child needs to understand that the child has to go to school. Yeah, when they're sick, they can say, I'm sick, and then we can decide whether we're going to send them to school or not, which is fine. But that is not happening in our culture. We are the ones that are waking them up. We are the ones that make them breakfast. We are the ones that dress them. And we are the ones that remind them, make sure you get your backpack ready. Last time you forgot your water bottle here. Make sure you take your water bottle, and make sure you don't fight at school. And every day we have to give them instructions. Every day we have to get them ready. That's not responsibility. It's their responsibility to get up and get dressed and do this as starting age 3. Otherwise, you will be waking them up at age 18 as well. So the child is in grade 12 and child doesn't get up. And so the mom or the grandmother, they go running up. Oi, tu uthya nahi haje. Come get up. Time to get up. Tu kal bhi late ho gaya si. Now, today you're going to be late again. Come on, tell me, what do you want to eat? I'm going to run downstairs. Make it for you. You come up. Oh, kanda, mom, leave me alone. It's only 5 minutes. Not a big deal. Why do you always make such a big deal if I'm late for 5 minutes? That is a disaster in making.
Right.
Because now the child does not accept the responsibility of going to school.
Going to school. Yeah. No, very well said. Yeah.
Right. So my recommendation is give them responsibility. So they are responsible to pick up their toys. Their responsibility is to take small garbage from the kitchen to the garage. It's their responsibility. So the mom can say, okay, bete, you are 4 years old. Here is, I'm going to give you the garbage bag. Come with me. Here, hold this garbage bag with me. Come. And here is where you're going to put it. And then you put it in the garage, but the child can take it 4-year-old up to the door and leave it there. That's how you train them at a young age. Mm-hmm. And at this young age, at age 3 and 4, they start washing the dishes. You get them a stool or a chair, get them water, let them play with water. And give them plastic plates and stuff to clean. So they need to learn this is how household work is done. And when they are a little older, like I have a 5-year-old granddaughter, and my son and my daughter-in-law, they both have told her, okay, bete, come on, now it's time to cook food and you're gonna do this. So every night, this is what she does.
Awesome.
It's her job. Her job is to help mom and dad with the cooking. So what can she do? So she sets up plates, she gets out the spoons and forks and knives, and she puts it there. And then she says, Grandpa, you're going to sit here. That's what she does. That's her job. So the more responsibility we're going to give to a child, the easier your life will be when they are over 12. Problems start to happen at age 12 because that's when their personality develops. And I can talk a little bit about personality development as well. Go ahead. You had a question?
So just a quick question, which, argument that some people make, or, you would hear a response, because we see like many immigrants come every day here. So when you say immigrants, they've just come out from that Indian culture where it's like mom do everything. Nobody else does anything. So I don't know if you can quickly touch up. I know that's a entirely different topic to talk about. Like in that environment, how do you make that like other members are not so helping, I would say? Again, because they come from that, whole entire life. One person does the kitchen stuff, one person earns, right? So when kids don't see that that's happening around them, how do you work around that?
So it's very important. So imagine that our child is now 19, 20 years old and is ready to go to university.
Yes.
And let's say that for whatever reason, they decide to go outside of Manitoba to go to a university. So I know there are two universities, University of Winnipeg and University of Manitoba. But what if some kid wants to go to UBC in British Columbia? Okay. Now the child has to live on his own.
Sure.
6 years old, doesn't know how to cook. So now the child is going to get used to eating fast food every day. Pizza, Burger King, McDonald's, Harvey's, some other thing. And pretty soon, the child will no longer enjoy home-cooked meal. So, and then all kind of health complications will come in. We know that as South Asians, we have a higher rate of diabetes and heart attacks. We know that.
Right.
We need to teach our children responsible eating. So, for example, again, coming back to children, because our topic today is children, the first thing that you eat every night is fruit. Before you give them food, you say, eat an apple, eat a banana, eat this, eat this. And every day you do the same thing. Now you eat salad. Now you eat broccoli. Now you eat this. Why? Because this is the first thing that disappears at age 12. So the research in Canada says that children after age 12 stop eating apples, bananas, any kind of fruit. They love pizza. They love McDonald's, hot dogs, and all this stuff. And nobody wants to say to their peers, I like broccoli. Yeah. I like to eat salad. I like to eat this. They don't say this. It's some kind of a no-no. So we have to inculcate a sense that even if they are under pressure, they will say, sorry, this is good for me. We have a higher rate of diabetes. So for example, since I have 3 children and then 3 grandchildren, each one of them have one. We have never brought, since our grandchildren were born, there is no Coke, 7-Up, Pepsi, any kind of soft drink in the house. Why? Because we know that we are at a higher risk of heart disease. Both my daughter-in-laws in their families, they have a higher rate of diabetes. So we don't want our grandchildren to develop diabetes if they start drinking. So now, even if you give them, you say, do you want a little bit of Coke? They will say, no, Mama said it's not good for me. So they will not drink. They will not drink while they are in somebody's house. They will not drink at home. We don't bring them. They are not exposed to. End of story, finish, over, done with. They're just not. So on their own, if they sit down and watch their show, we give them apple to eat. So while they're watching, they can eat an apple. They can eat a broccoli. They can eat carrots. So vegetables are good. but we have to make them like it. It's very important. So what happens in our Punjabi homes or in South Asian homes is that we bring in fruit, and then we have to run after our children. Please, yaar, apple khala, please, banana khala. And then the child eats a little bit and leaves it there, and then don't eat it. And then finally, kele kharab ho jante hain, and then we put it in the garbage. That's what happens. It's not that we don't spend money. We spend money. The question is, it's not going into our children's tummies. And you have to beg, and you have to do all kind of begging, please khala, that kind of a thing. And that's what happens. So I think what we have to do is we have to turn the whole thing around. Jehdiyan cheezaan aapa ghat khane hain, let's start eating them more. And we begin with it. End of story. So so we need to kind of know, so what happens when a personality develops? So let me give you a little bit of, and then we're going to go back to our kind of in a talk. So how does personality develop? So the personality develops around, it's usually completed by age 5. So the first 5 years of a child are very important. So jehda kuch bacche ne banna si, oh pehle 5 salan ch ban chukya. So what do you do at first 5 years? The first 5 years of life are important, is that you have to absolutely, unconditionally love your child. And that's not what we do. We love our child when the child does something good. But when the child doesn't do something good, we don't say, I love you, but please don't do this. We don't say that. We say, "Aa kyun kita? Why are you doing this? How many times I have told you to do this?" Odi personality develop ho jandi hai. Basically, oh kenda, my parents, they will never be happy with me. This is how ideas in a child's brain develop. They are not rational at that age. They are not rational. They are very black and white. So imagine if you say, I have told you 1,000 times, why can't you get it in your head that you have to sit down and eat? Now that child, now this is how the child interprets. My dad has, or my mom has told me 1,000 times, maybe something is wrong with me. And the moment a child starts thinking that something is wrong, already we have put that child in a doubt capacity. Now the child is doubting himself or herself. Maybe I am not a good person. Maybe I don't have the capacity to do it. Maybe I am stupid. And the moment we develop that in a child, now the child will never be reaching the heights that the child has the capacity to reach. So you have to unconditionally love your child, whether the child has done something good or something bad. Even when a child has done something bad, you still hug him, you still kiss him, you still say you are the best thing that ever happened to us. But bete, let me tell you, this, I think you can do better than this. That's when personalities are developed. So the personalities where we make the child become a follower, and parents say, "Yaar, sada munda ta lai laga, sadi kudi ta lai laga," and that word lai lag in Punjabi means, in English, it's converted as having a follower personality, which means that they will always follow someone. They can follow their peers. They can follow somebody else, and as a result, things will go wrong. So what I am recommending is that please, when you criticize, when you correct a wrong behavior, do in your mind, you say 5-to-1 ratio. So you have 5 and 1 ratio. So you're going to say you did bad, or you did this wrong, or you did this. But before you do that one thing that you are guiding him, you have to say 5 good things. I love you, that you are You are an absolute person. Look, you are good in your memory with ABC. Yesterday, I was very proud of you when you finished your meal. And then you can say all the other two things that you really appreciate. And now that you have given him 5 positive remarks, now you take that one part that you want to correct. Now what will happen is that the child will say, see, oh my God, I am so good. I can get this thing, doing better again. That's how we develop a positive personality. In all of your, as parents, and I talk to parents often, and I say to parents, do you know people who in their whole life are complainers? And everybody, all kind of people put their hand up. I know at least one person who is a complainer. So they will complain, Canada is not good, weather is too cold, it's getting expensive, I wish I had never come to Canada, I was doing very well back home, the weather is lousy, the Canadian dollar is sinking, America is going down the tube, and all night long they will keep on bringing in a negative of every single thing. We call them complainers. That's how the complainers develop, because all their life they were criticized and they had nothing else to learn except this. So those are some of the ways those personalities are developed. But one basic element that parents can do, even if your child has broken a glass, even if the child throws a toy and your TV gets broken, you still pick up your child, you still hug your child, and you say, Baba, I love you, but I expect that you can do better than this. Because look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, see, you have done these 5 good things. I expected that you will behave properly and not throw things. And see, now the TV is broken. That way, he will accept the criticism, change his or her behavior, and yet feel good about at the end of the day. So that's how we develop positive personalities, so that they don't become complainers and whiners, and they develop a clinging personality where they don't leave their mom and dad alone. They constantly kind of clinging and demanding and all that other stuff, right? It's up to us to kind of look at it.
Right.
Okay, so now any question before I go? And is there any question in the chat box? If you can keep an eye on the chat box, please. If there is anything, then let me know. Then I can also.
We don't have any questions so far, Mutaji. I will keep an eye on in the inbox.
Awesome. Awesome. Jyoti, any other thing?
Yes. So I guess, I think the points that you have brought up so far, if somebody was following them all this through, COVID or no COVID, I think wouldn't have made much of a difference, because you have set those discipline lines and have started that upbringing in a way that, it benefits both parent and their growth as well. But again, said that, I'm myself enlightened quite a bit with the points that you brought up. Again, it's hard to carry out them as easy they are said, right? But again, not that we want to disregard the fact, the situation we are in right now. It's like, again, still like, there was a time when kids were home all the time, and who knows that we could get to that with the situation in Winnipeg. Cases are climbing every day. And we may actually get kids back in school. I hope that doesn't happen. But again, they are put into quite a bit as well, can't go out so much, can't play with their friends so much. So give us some tips in regards to that. First being, kids are now bound to a smaller circle. They don't have that friends, and they probably get tired of being in this disciplined zone all day, right? So
okay,
if you can touch base a little bit on that, and then we can carry out the conversation as it goes.
Yeah. So let's look at it, the children that are from 0 to 5-year-old. So let's say you're working with the children 0 to 5-year-old, and you have small children, and let's say a 4-year-old is going to pre-kindergarten, or kindergarten, and the teacher is teaching them remotely, and you have a laptop or a desktop at home. They have set up their room, and the child is there to study with mom, dad, or with grandparents, or with somebody else. Okay. Now, a 4-year-old doesn't have much of an attention span. We know that. A child cannot sit like us, like all of us are sitting, and we are looking and we are paying attention and we are kind of absorbing. A child doesn't do that. The child is always distracted. A 4-year-old especially, they're very curious. So the moment you're gonna say there is um, a rabbit running in a forest, all of a sudden the child's gonna jump out of the chair and start hopping around. Right? That's how 4-year-olds are. The 4-year-olds are very curious. So what we have learned is that we need to understand age appropriate behavior of a child. So I have seen parents make this mistake, and I have been inundated with the calls every day. Parents frantically saying, well, I have a 6-year-old, the child doesn't sit still more than 15 minutes, and the child wants to run out or wants to just lie down on the floor and give me hard time, and I'm telling him to pay attention. The teacher is talking and the child is not listening. These kind of things happening all the time. Okay, so let's look at it, how we can kind of correct that behavior. So that behavior can be corrected by understanding how does a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old behave. How do they behave? They are very spontaneous. Whatever comes in their head, they're gonna start implementing. They're gonna forget that they are sitting in front of a TV and that they have to stop. That's not how they are. They are going to be spontaneous. They are going to be rambunctious. They are going to move around. So what we have observed from my granddaughter, who is 5 years old, she doesn't like to sit more than 5 minutes. So what do? So we said, so we preempt her. So now she's sitting close to 4 minutes. So we say, her name is Soleil. So we say, Soleil, do you want to get up and stand? She says, yes, I want to get up and stand. So now she stands. Now she's again paying attention, but we preempted her moving because we know that if we don't tell her to move, she's going to get up and walk out. But we are now saying, do you want to get up? And she feels comfortable. Oh my God, I have the permission to now stand now. So we just let her stand in front of the thing. Now she's still paying attention, but she's standing now. Then we say, okay, do you want to sit down on the floor? Just say. So we just move the camera like this. And then we put her on the ground, and now she's lying down, she's sitting down, she's sitting cross-legged, and then we just whisper in her ear, well, you can do yoga, you can meditate, you're still listening, keep listening. That is called functioning at the level of the child. Now, the mistakes parents do is that parents want to make sure that their child behaves appropriately in front of the teacher, in front of the Zoom camera. They want to make sure that there is no movement by the child and that everything goes kind of smooth, but that's not how it happens. In reality, children will be children. Allow them the flexibility to move. So that's one. Find out what your child is. Some children are able to sit, but I can guarantee you a 4 or a 5-year-old cannot sit more than 5-10 minutes. Mm-hmm. You have to move. Allow them the flexibility to move. So sometimes they can sit on the chair. Sometimes they can stand in front of the screen. Sometimes they can sit on the floor. Allow them that flexibility. Let's not fight about it. As long as they are hearing, that's good enough, because learning via remote is a total different ball game.
So how do you this is the balance I think most of the parents, I guess, try to work on. How do you create that balance between flexibility and discipline, right? When it is too much of a flexibility and when it is too much of a discipline, that it becomes my parents are very strict, and then they don't want to be around or don't like that attitude, right?
So one of the delicate balance is, are you creating an environment where the children loves to learn? Or are you creating an environment where the child is forced to sit, but then gradually starts hating learning, that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that the child has this innate desire to come to school, to learn, to become knowledgeable, and then brag about to mom and dad, Mama, I learned about lions, I learned about dinosaur, I learned about the moon, I learned about this and that. We want them to be curious and we want them to be energized about learning. So for me, that ability to learn is much more important that whether the child was sitting or not sitting or jumping or not jumping or doing this or doing that. That is not important. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that they have that desire to learn and that we don't crush that desire through rigid discipline. In front of a screen, there is no way that you can expect a child to sit still for the duration of 40 minutes or 30 minutes of Zoom time. There is no way that a 5-year-old can sit for 30 minutes. Just not possible. And no amount of teachers have said that you have to make your child sit in front of the TV. They said, if the child wants to stand after 5 minutes, let them stand. If the child wants to wander around the room, let them wander around the room. It's okay. They're still hearing. They're still paying attention. That's okay. And then we can repeat that same session in the evening. So that is the flexibility that we need to do, because if we don't do that at a younger age, they are going to learn to hate that kind of a rigidness. And that's what I'm scared, that if they develop a disliking for going to school or learning, we're going to have an uphill battle after 12 years old. So that's the kind of thing that I want to do. The second thing is, I don't think we have, so the first part here is talk to your child. So we do not communicate effectively with our children. We don't. And I'm going to send you, Jyoti and Ramandeep, I'm going to send you this PowerPoint presentation. Sure. You have it and you can share it with people so that they have it. They can further share it with their children and grandchildren as well.
Thank you.
So I may not be able to go through everything, but I'm just going to make some highlighted points.
Sure.
It's very important for us to have a high-level communication with our children, whether they are 3-year-old or whether they are 18-year-old. The level of communication has to be high. The same way that I'm talking to you, you have to communicate with your 5-year-old. You do not make baby sentences. You do not cut down the grammar. You speak them as if you are talking to an older person. So their vocabulary will increase. If you talk to them the way you and me are talking right now, that's how I want them to communicate. So this is how you communicate. Bete, sit down. Tell me, how are you doing at school? And I thought that your teacher, the lesson on temperature was so beautiful. I am fascinated by the amount of learning that you guys are doing. Tell me a little bit about, what do you remember about the temperature? Why does it go up and down? What did your teacher say about the temperature outside? I think that is how you will develop the verbalization of in a child. So that's one. The second thing, what we don't do is we don't talk about COVID-19. We just say, this is the common mistake that happens. Please wash your hands. Okay. Now the child, now imagine what a child is going through. So the child thinks, okay, Mama is saying, wash my hands. Okay. And that the child, if the child is really kind of a rambunctious personality, the child will say, why, Mama? Because of COVID. I have told you a number of times that we have COVID and it's a pandemic, and that's why we have to wash. That's not enough information for a child.
True.
So you have to really bring a piece of paper, you have to go and draw what COVID is. And then you have to draw that this is a virus and it's very small. And then you have to tell them how small it is. And then you have to actually go outside and get a grain of sand. And then you say, you see this is a grain of sand. This is too much sand. But if let's isolate one, you see this one sand and it's even smaller than that sand. That's how small this virus is, but it makes us sick. But we never took the time. So the first thing we have to do is talk about COVID in the home. And which we are not doing. We are not explaining them anything. We are just saying COVID, and they don't understand what COVID is. And if you say pandemic, they still don't understand. If we say coronavirus, they still don't understand. If we say it's like flu, they still don't understand. So you have to really nitty gritty. You have to explain them what it is, why it's important to wash hands. So now that we have trained our children, so they will make sure that you follow them. So for example, every time we come inside, so we are walking outside and we come inside, the first thing our granddaughter says, Grandpa, let's wash hands. So we have to wash hands by counting 20. So 20, 19, and we have under, and we keep rubbing our hands. We keep rubbing our hands till it's 0. And then we put it under the water and clean them. So we have trained her, and now she doesn't let us go until we have counted to 20 because she has internalized it. Is that happening in our homes? If it's not, we have to change that.
Yeah.
So that's how we have to kind of make sure that they understand. The same thing about wearing a mask. Same thing about keeping distance. Same thing about when they're coming from outside inside. Same thing about not hugging until we have changed our clothes. If we have really gone grocery shopping, so the first thing we do, we change our clothes, put them in a laundry basket, take a bath, put new clothes on, and that's what we do.
We have a viewer whose mic is on. If
I am trying to find out who is this.
I guess it's I can see. I'll just request all viewers to kindly unmute, just so we could carry on with the session, and just the background noise makes it hard for others to hear.
Thank you. It's gone, Jyoti. Thanks.
Okay. So, so communication is important. So let's communicate, and then we have to explain them truthfully what the whole issue is. And that third, we need to be a friend to the child, and we need to explain them, right? So there are a lot of material available. There are a lot of material available in Hindi as well. If we go to the UNICEF website, they have materials of talking to children on UNICEF. So they have done I think one of the best websites for children. They have materials, stuff, right? So talking about COVID is one of the important things. The second one is, do we have one-to-one time with them during COVID? Do they get their time? So we get time to cook. So we have a one-to-one time with our cooking. We have one-to-one time taking a bath. We have one-to-one time working. We have one-to-one time with talking to people, finding out about their health. We have one-to-one. Do we have one-to-one time with our child? If not, well, nothing is wrong. Let's make sure that 20 minutes we will have every day one-to-one time with our child. And that means no other business. Even if phone rings, we're not going to pick it up. It is our one-to-one time with our child. So the child feels important. if you are with a child and your phone rings and you say, hello, मैं बात करता मैं अपने बच्चे नाल खेल रहा, you have no longer given one-to-one time to your child because you are more interested in talking to the phone than to the child, and the child remembers it, and then the child says, oh no, you are lying. When you say I am the most important thing in your life, you lie because you start picking up the phone. That's how a child's brain works. So because children are very black and white, children are not gray. We are gray. We can rationalize. We can use logic. We can use comprehension, experiential learning. We know what is right and wrong. Children are not. At 5 years old, children are very pure. They say what they mean. End of story. No hidden of anything. So from that point of view, 20 minutes, one-to-one. So make sure we have one-to-one time with our children. So now we know that the children are cooped up and they are going to get cranky. If we are getting crankier, we know that the cases of mental stress is rising in our community. Then imagine, why would children not be stressed out? Children will also be stressed out. So if children are stressed out, they're going to act out. If they are going to act out, well, guess what? What's going to happen? We are going to get stressed out because they are not listening to us. If we get stressed out, well, then we're going to get angry. If we get angry, we are likely to yell at them. And then it's a negative spiral going all the way down. So what can we do? We need to recognize our own questions and our own behaviors and our own thought processes and our own feelings. And we say, okay, I think the child needs 20 minutes of my time. Let's go out for a walk. And sometimes you may be working from home and it's not possible because you may be in a meeting, but then comes lunchtime. Well, then take the children out at lunchtime. Eat quickly and then say, okay, guys, let's go. Get dressed. Let's go for a walk around the block. And then come back and they will be freshed. You will be freshed. Everybody will be energized. That's called keeping it positive. And one of the best things we do is when our child is misbehaving, we just sit down with the child and we say, which feeling is it? So if you go on Google and you type feelings wheel, it gives you a chart with all the feelings. It says anger, frustrated, happy, sad, anxious, all kind of feelings, and it has. So then you can hold that thing and you can print it and you can hold it and you can say to the child, well, which one of these feelings are you feeling right now? And can you act it out? And then the child will act it out. I feel this way. Okay, so then let's have it, talk about it.
That's a very nice way of distracting them and actually recognizing as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that recognizing how they feel better. They feel acknowledged or feel that, okay, they are understanding what I feel and feel kind of better, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are there some questions that we can take? Are there?
Yes, we did receive a few questions in the meantime.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we want to tackle them.
Okay, so I'm just gonna look at them.
So I have a list created here, so I can read out maybe question by question. So first one came out to us is, if you could provide us with some insight, how do parents and children deal with pandemic? Like what you have observed that has changed in parent-children relationship? Like is it a business as usual, or things have changed already and will change more?
Yes,
on us.
The things have changed, and children who had mild bad behavior are behaving really bad. Okay. Mm-hmm. Children who had good behavior are really feeling stressed out, and they don't know how to deal with their stress, and parents don't know how to deal with the stress of their children, because they themselves get stressed out when they see their children stressed out.
So could you share a tip? Like, I see you have a life experience as well, and the knowledge that you have shared, like a tip that, I know it's a wide variety of issues that both sides are dealing with. A tip that you could share that somebody should be doing in this time.
Okay, so the first thing is, so the first lesson that I learned when I was very young was from my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
In Hinduism, our forefathers told us it's very important to understand non-verbal behavior of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at research that couples who fight less or very seldom they have a disagreement, those couples are who are able to understand the non-verbal behavior of their partner. In Hinduism, it was believed that we human beings are unable to transmit or verbalize our thoughts into words. And we mean something, say something, the other person understands something, confusion happens, and fight happens. So, what our forefathers used to say in the Indian subcontinent is, look at the person, feel it, and change your behavior according to that other person's nonverbal. Now that we are into the age of psychology, we know that 93% of the other person's nonverbal behavior determines how your interaction will be, and verbalizing is only 7%. So what has happened is, what COVID has done is, we are unable to gauge the non-verbal behaviors of others, because we are ourselves heightened, have a heightened level of stress. So my recommendation is that we need to start sharpening our ability of non-verbal understanding of the other person, the way our forefathers in Indian subcontinent within Hinduism said. So if we had a rishi called Mon, there was a Mon rishi, he never spoke. His belief was that if I speak, I'm gonna upset you, you will be hurt, I don't want to hurt you. So you just read my face and tell me. And that's how his firm belief was. So within our learnings in the Indian subcontinent, I honestly believe that couples who have the innate ability to look at each other and say, I think my partner is tired. I think that my partner is hungry. I think my partner needs to be left alone. They are much happier couples than those who say, "Oh, tenu hoya ki hai, main muh sajaya. Ki gall hai, chup karke baitha, main das de, main tenu kuch kar sakdi haan." That doesn't go well in us, because sometimes we don't even want to acknowledge this.
Right.
We say, just leave me alone. Par kyun? Why should I leave you alone? Tu mainu das ta sahi, main teri help kar dun.
Right.
Bolta sahi kuch.
Sometimes it's just that frustration. Why can't you see it, right?
Exactly. So one of the suggestions I have from parents is, look at your children and guess what is wrong with them. Maybe they are bored, but are you able to guess? Do you have to ask them, okay, tu kyun ithe muh baitha? Kyun tang kari jana mainu? You don't need to ask the child, oh, ki kahuga? Oh, kahuga, no, I'm not bothering you. Just leave me alone. Especially when they are 12 years old, that's how rude they become to parents.
Yeah.
Because you're asking them, why are you not eating? Because I'm not hungry. Well, you should eat. No, I don't have to eat. Who says I have to eat? Okay, so that means we are unable to predict what their behavior is. And so we are asking questions, making them more mad. And the more mad they get, we also get mad. And then there is a big fight between the parent and the child. So if we just simply say, we look at them and we can judge, okay, this guy seems to be in a bad mood. So now we have an option. We can say, do you want to tell me a little bit about how you're feeling? Is everything okay? And you can say, yeah, mom, or no, mom. Okay, I'm going to leave you alone. But if you feel like talking to me, I'm available.
Okay, awesome.
But we don't do that because we are not satisfied. We want to know what is wrong with our child.
Yeah, just
why
give us
is the child
answer,
quiet?
let us know what's the problem and find a solution for it, right? Exactly. But sometimes it's just that emotional intelligence part missing, that we don't get to the feelings and feel it, right? That's a very beautiful insight. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought about that. So beautiful question, and I would say that's a real great answer that you have provided us.
Okay.
I already see some feedback coming in the chat that people are really appreciating this. So the next question we have is, now most kids are at home. So what should parents do? How to handle, like, there are siblings, sometimes it's just they get into a fight or fight for a remote or, small things like that.
Okay. So we have to kind of create a mission statement. So I will recommend that mom and dad and children, they create a mission statement of the house. So the mission statement could be, we are and I'm going to use Ramandeep, we are a Grewal family and we live in Winnipeg. And in our house, we are going to behave nicely to each other. We are not going to engage in any fighting because we in our family do not fight with anyone. So something like this, we have to come up with all the things that we don't want the kids to do. So we don't want them poking each other. We don't want them pinching. We don't want them making fun. We don't want them hitting, snatching, not sharing. So we list everything in that mission statement that we want the kids to behave nicely. And then we print it. And then we put it in each of their room. Where there is in front of their computer, close to their computer, in front of where they get dressed, their dressing room, or the mirror that they have right on it. And we say, okay, guys, this is how we are going to kind of put this mission statement, and then we're gonna kind of read. And every time the child misbehaves, we can very politely hold their hand, take them in their bedroom, and we say, in our mission statement, we have this thing. Remember, we talked about it? And the child will say, yes. Well, guess what? You are having a difficulty with your brother or sister. Let's see how we can solve it. Come, you're a very good guy. I think we can work this out. But you have to actually take them. So what the way I still remember, so we were living in a house and my kids were small and they will often get a fight with each other. So in the basement, in the far corner, I had put a mission statement. So they would be sitting in the living room. I will make them get up. I will take them all the way in the basement, all the way in the far corner, and I will say, read the entire mission statement. And first 2 times they did it. The third time they were fighting, I said, okay, guys, let's go in the basement. They said, no, dad, we know about the mission statement. Okay, we're going to fix it. Okay, here is your thing. Now don't cry. And I'm not going to take it back. They sorted it amongst themselves. You can do the same thing. You can put a mission statement, tell them, you're going to fight? Okay, let's go and read the mission statement in your room. Or if you have a basement, far deep corner somewhere, make them walk all the way up there and ask them to read it and spend some time. I think that's what will be beautiful, because then they will start after 2-3 times. They will say, no, dad, I know about the mission statement. Let me work it out amongst ourselves, because they don't want to get up and leave and walk all the way down and do this. So that is, I think the beauty of it is that we need to develop a mission statement and we need to reinforce that mission statement. And then They will not use any F words. They will not fight. They will not pinch each other. They will not bother each other. And if they do, let's say they do, because they're kids, they're going to kind of relapse. You just take them and say, come on, let's go. Go to the far corner and say, okay, now let's read the entire mission statement. And now they're going to start missing their TV show or whatever else they were missing. And they're not going to be a happy camper. And they're going to say, no, I don't want to read. Tell them, no, because we agreed. You have your signatures on the mission statement. You agreed with us, and now you have to read. And that is why it is important for us to have an agreement that they can live up to. And they're going to say, oh my God, this is a serious business. It means that when I say something, I have to learn by it. And
so basically teach them accountability as well, and keeps them in check every time they, go away or get distracted, that this is something I signed, I need to stick to it, right?
Okay. So another question that I am reading here in the chat is, having seen the overview, can you provide us with insights? How do parents and children deal with pandemic? What all have you observed regarding parent-child relationship? Is it a business as usual, or will things change? Huge change is going to happen. Huge change. One of the biggest change that is going to happen is there are 3-4 things that the South Asian community needs to be aware of. Number one, our children, whether they are not children is not the right word, our our teenagers are more than teenagers, like the youngsters who are between the age of 25 to 30, they are not going to get married. Whether it's a boy or a girl, it's going to be a problem in the South Asian community. Our children are refusing to get married. They want to either live common law or not having a partner at all. That's one bigger problem as a community we're going to face. The second bigger problem is that our children are much more married and much more content with having a cell phone and an internet. So their partner is this. This is their partner, a cell phone. So, for example, in Punjab, the last year's study says that majority of the divorces that happened within the first 6 months after marriage were related to cell phone passwords. So that the couple wanted the password from each other and none of them wanted to give. And they said, okay, then if you don't give me the password, then I don't trust you. Then he said, I don't trust you either because you are not giving me the password. Therefore, let's separate. And so the marriages that failed within the first 6 months in Punjab were related to cell phone passwords. We are going to have a generation where they are much more comfortable texting rather than talking. So even now during teenage years, if a child is upstairs in his or her bedroom, the mom says, "Bacheo, aajo roti kha lo," and the son or the daughter is texting to the mom, "Mom, I'm not hungry, I'm gonna come. You eat and I'm gonna come." They are not answering, they're just texting the mom. That has become a norm nowadays, and we need to kind of figure out how we're going to resolve that issue.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know why this is up. I have no.
I guess it's an amazing conversation. I just want to be meaningful of your time. As long as you're okay, I guess viewers are.
No, I'm okay. As long as the other people are, I'm gonna make a couple of more comments, and don't worry about it. I'm okay.
Okay. Awesome.
So that was, so one was teenagers, adult children not getting married. The second one is they are much more comfortable with their technology, and the third one is that for them, life or the quality of life is much more important than the life of rituals that we are used to. So I became 25. My mom and dad said, "You're going to get married." I didn't say, "No, I'm not going to get married." So it was unthinkable that a young man or a young woman will say, "No, I'm not getting married." It swali nahi si paida hunda. Now, the quality of life that I will go skiing in Bahamas, or I will go to vacation in Cuba is much more important than listening to mom and dad that now it's time for you to get settled. They say, no, ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ. Leave me alone, mom. Don't worry about me. If I find someone, I will find it. If I don't find it, don't bother with it. So you youngsters who are having your children who are just small yet, you are in for a rude awakening with your children, because they are going to have a total different value system and a total different way of understanding life from a philosophical point of view than we were. We were influenced much more by our religions, and these children are influenced much more by technology, by artificial intelligence, so by the algorithms that define human beings. So they are much more tech savvy. They are no longer willing to donate to mandars and gurdwaras and masjids and churches. They are much more inclined to donate to what they believe in. They may donate $50 every month to AIDS crisis in Africa, or some remote tree plantation in Brazil to preserve climate change. So their whole liking is totally different than ours. Their way of thinking is different than ours. What they value is different than ours. We want our family to be close, and they're going to say, Mom, I would like to go and go to Cuba all by myself. They're going to say, but why all by yourself? Do you not want your mom and dad to come? He says, no, mom, I would rather go alone. And it's mind-boggling for us generation, for my generation, to say, well, how come my son could say that to me, that I'm going alone? What do you mean alone? Why can't we come with you? We're not bothering you. You can. It says, no, it's not cool for you to hang around with me. You go deal with your own age group. So that kind of a thing, we need to be mentally prepared. And then we have this whole notion about what do we value? We valued hard work. That's what we valued. We valued hard work. We valued status. Our status came with a house. We work hard, we buy a house. We work hard to pay it off. That's our property. We want the best for our children. We do overtime to make sure that our children go to university. We do everything possible for our children. Not this generation. That's not what they're gonna do. They're gonna say, sorry guys, this is how much we're gonna do. The rest is up to you guys to kind of figure it out. And so there are much more changes coming during pandemic, and even before pandemic they were there. But because of pandemic, it is all virtual. It's all online. Even dating has become online. Marriages have become virtual. Birthday celebrations have become virtual. Variety of even pretty soon you will see that if this COVID doesn't go away pretty time soon, we will have our puja and path and everything from a mandir, from a gurdwara, from a masjid, from a church, remote. So the priest will be standing alone in a church and giving the sermon, or a panditji or a granthi. They will speak and we will listen on our Zoom link, kind of a thing. So we are in for a very, and we need to, whether we like it or not, we need to become tech savvy. We cannot afford to say to our children, oh, mainu ta yaar pata hi nahi ga tusi ki login karte ho, ki dekhde ho. What they are saying in Canada, an 8-year-old is now watching pornography to such an extent that it is frightening. And parents don't know that they are watching. They are so tech savvy, an 8-year-old, that they can watch pornography and delete, and parents will not know that they have even been on that website. So we need to understand their internet behavior. We need to put some some controls, parental controls on their laptops and computers, and make sure that we train them to use technology responsibly. So I would recommend one of the things that you do in Manitoba is that you work with Winnipeg Police. Ask them to give you a 1-hour seminar to all the parents on how to protect your children from these internet predators. These predators who can pretend to be a 16-year-old girl trying to befriend another 16-year-old girl, while this girl is not a girl, he's a 40-year-old man. So the police can train us. We need to work with the police to understand, because they have the latest equipment. They can tell us the tricks. And we need to do the one thing I would recommend. What you need to do is you need to understand their slang, and it's called internet slang. So when your daughter, a teenage daughter, or your teenager son is typing in their chat box OMS and hitting it, that's all. Your child is in touch with somebody else and they're chatting and they're typing OMS. In slang, in internet slang, in a teenage internet slang, it means over my shoulder. That means my mom and dad are watching me. That means over my shoulder. So there are so many abbreviations these youngsters do that it is mind-boggling that they can still text and you will say, okay, इन्हें तो हटाया नहीं, ये तो मतलब के सामने भी साडे करी जाता text, but they know what they are saying. So all of a sudden their chat will change. All they had to do was OMS, over my shoulder. That's all they had to do. And all of a sudden the chat will change and they will say, Mom, here, I'm just talking about the homework to my friend. We need to outsmart them. We need to understand them. We need to know what our kids are up to. We can't just simply say, oh, asita hard work kita, asita thodi zindagi banani hai. All these dialogues, they don't mean much. So my recommendation would that be, don't fall for that. Just get in touch with Winnipeg Police. They have ready-made community-minded police officers who do parental training on child-proofing your kid. It's very important that we do that 1 hour sessions with the police as well. So the next question was from Gagandeep. Kids are stressed. What we do? They are playing on computers. Kids are topped in their class, but they sit mostly on computer. What do I do? Okay, so my question, the way I would like to answer this is this a problem? Are you seeing this a problem? And why are you seeing this a problem? Just because a child is on the computer, what does it mean to be on a computer? The child could be watching Discovery Channel. The child could be watching how to catch a leopard, how to catch a tiger. The child could be watching rainforest. So what is the problem? If the child is playing video games, then I get worried. But just because the child is on computer doesn't mean much. So you have to be very specific as to what the question is. Is the child, the teenager or a 12-year-old playing video games, and now the child plays for 6 hours straight, and when you tell the child, hey, enough, no more playing, the child gets violent, throws temper tantrums, cries, whines, and drives everybody crazy. Now the child is addicted. Now there is a problem. But if the child is playing mostly on computer, well, that's their generation. We used to play cricket when I grew up in the 60s. Why? And my father was worried. Why are you playing so much in the street? Well, that's what kids do in the street. But now, what is the problem of youngsters? Well, they are on computer. Well, that's what they do. They will be on computer. The question is not that they are on computers. The question is, what are they doing on the computer? Do you know what they are doing? Well, no, we don't know. Okay, so then why don't you know? Well, they don't tell me. Aha. So who is in charge of the computer? You or the child? Well, we are. Okay, then change the password. They don't let me change the password. Okay, then cut the internet. Oh, but then they make our life miserable. Well, too bad if they do. You have to seize control. So the moment a child is more powerful than a parent, you are asking for trouble. Doesn't matter. As long as the child lives under you, whether the child is 30 years old or the child is 3-year-old, really doesn't matter. You are the boss of the house because you pay. He's living or she's living under your rules. And you have to enforce those rules. There is no, but Indian parents are Indian parents. So they will ask me, well, what should I do? I said, well, take the TV out if he's watching too much TV. Put it in the garage. Oh, fir oh ronda bahut a. Main kaha, too bad. Let him cry. Let him cry. But then, oh, dada nahi manta, odi dadi nahi mandi. I said, too bad. Tell the dada and dadi to cry with your grandchild. I don't care. Because today he's crying and tomorrow, what he's going to do? He's going to drink and drive. And then what are you going to do? The police is not going to say, oh, yare bacha, inu chalo chhad do. They're going to put handcuffs on the guy and put him in jail for drinking and driving. So we are a culture where we have loved our children even when they are wrong. There comes a time when you have to put your foot down and you say, hello, son, I told you to be in bed by 11. And I saw you in your room 2 o'clock at the night using your computer. It's unacceptable. If you do not smarten up, I'm going to give you one more chance. If you do not smarten up, guess what? You will not get the internet in this house. End of story. Well, then I won't study. Too bad. Then don't study. Well, then I will fail. Very good. You fail. And then you will be 1 year behind. Wouldn't that be nice? All your friends will be in grade 11 and you will be still stuck in grade 10. Wouldn't that be great? Well, that's not fair. I know, son, life is never fair. Life is never fair. But this is the way we're going to do here. You are living under my rules. This is how we're going to operate. But we don't do this. So pretty soon, slowly and slowly, the children become powerful and the parents have no power. And these are the parents, they get stressed out. They get high blood pressure. They get heart attacks. And eventually, their life becomes miserable. And then they blame on Canada, they blame on the system, they blame on education system, they blame on manners, they blame on everything. But one thing they never were able to do, exert their control back. So a father and a mother should be in control of their children. And one more thing, now while I have it in my mind, mothers should never use fathers as the ultimate authority. ਇਹ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਲੈਣ ਦੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਰੂ ਫਿਕਸ never use this dialogue. A mother should be as powerful to discipline the children as father is. Fathers are not used as disciplinarians because you destroy the father's credibility in child's mind, because the child thinks, oh yaar father ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉੱਚੀ ਬੋਲਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ. That's not what fathers are for. It's mother's responsibility to discipline also. So don't say that I'll end the father nu phir main karti haan karani hai fix tenu. No, don't ever say that. You say you will be in trouble. Go to your room. And I think that the reason why children misbehave, it is because they get conflicting messages from mom and dad. ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਬੱਚਾ ਵਿਗੜੂਗਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਵਿਗੜਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਮ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਡੈਡ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ. That's when children go bad. So we need to be on the same page. When so the first lesson from today could be that mom and dad need to spend one-on-one time. Okay, ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. Well, I look at my child and I say he should go to bed at 8. But when you look at the child, you always say, oh, ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਖੇਲ ਲੈਣ ਦੇ, ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਛੋਟਾ. Well, let's agree. What is the proper time to put the child in bed? We can't have two different times. ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਉਹ 8 ਵਜੇ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਦੂਜੇ ਦਿਨ ਉਹ 10 ਵਜੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ, because the dad wants to play. That's not. Agree on one time. Agree on one dinner time. Agree on how many toys will this child get once in every month. 1 or 2. ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਫਾਦਰ ਨਾਲ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਜਾ ਕੇ $60 ਦੀ ਕਾਰ ਲੈ ਆਇਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮਦਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਦੇਣਾ. So now he's smartening up. So he's saying, okay, so here is what we're going to do. Mom, when I go with mom, I don't ask. When I go with dad, and I will always say, Dad, can I go with you? Dad, can I go with you? I like to go with you. I like to spend some time. And you go out, and Dad, can I buy a car? He says, oh, chal put, car khareed la, koi galla, la car. And then he comes on, and then the wife says, why did you buy it to him again? Oh, koi nahi, kuch nahi hunda, apna munda hi hai. And then all of a sudden we have a different kind of a between mom and dad, their push and pull, and the children says, okay, aa cheez dad to milti hai, aa cheez mom to milti hai. Ida matlab main aa cheez dad kole jaake manga, and then they start to manipulate. And that is the worst personality to have when we develop our children to become manipulators. We shouldn't ask them to manipulate at all. So the next one was, we are keeping record of all your questions. Okay, so that was Ramandeep. Okay. Parents like to give you young children cell phones to self-entertain. Don't do that, please. Excellent suggestion. And they do not need to deal with them. It's both galata. Please do not give children your cell phones. Not allowed. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter whether they are in a mandir, gurdwara, whether they are at a party, whether they are sitting in the car. Do not give your cell phones at all. This is not a toy. This is not a babysitting equipment. Do not give them. They become very tech savvy at a very young age, and they will hound you into submission with these technologies. So please don't do. And then, okay. Okay, the others were some suggestions and stuff. So basically, I want to leave you with some kind of notes. I will send you this this PowerPoint presentation that you can kind of know. We didn't have time to go through all of it because it requires thing, but I'm hoping you can do a couple of things during COVID. One, have some serious discussions as to what your child needs to know age appropriately about COVID. Design a presentation. You can download a ready-made presentation. There must be thousands available. How to teach a child, 5-year-old, about COVID. Okay, it's already ready-made. Just download it and put it in there. Rather than making one, you can just download and go through it. There must be some YouTube. Take him to your family doctor. Put him on Zoom and tell him, can you explain, doctor, to my child, he's a 6-year-old, what COVID is? Because I'm trying and he's still not understanding, or she's still not understanding. Somebody needs to come in with some authority and explain. Public health department can also explain. There must be, the teachers can also explain. So we need to kind of have them educated around COVID-19. At home, what I will do is, parents need to take time out from their busy schedule to kind of also take care of themselves. It's very important to take care of themselves as well, because it's okay that yes, we do everything for a child, but it's very important to also take care of your own self. So those were some of the remarks we wanted to make. And let me know whenever your sessions are finished next month, if you want me to come back and talk about teenagers specifically, because that's a different one. So there may be some parents who have teenagers and they may say, well, today you concentrated heavily on the first 5 years on children. Then we can do a session entirely on teenagers, as to how teenagers should be handled, what are the anticipatory challenges of raising a teen. So I define teenagers 12 plus. Anybody that has a 12 plus child can come, and then we can have some discussion on that as well.
I'm sure like there's quite a bit that listeners, myself, have got out of this session itself. And I think I really appreciate the offer for, making yourself available for future sessions. I think we'll all love to join in. And I'm sure like this is going to provide quite a bit of insight into how we could make our parenting better. Again, it's not only kids' fault, right? Or fault, not even fault, I would say. Like it's a role on both ends that need to be enhanced and looked after, I would say. Mm-hmm. So thank you again so much. I really feel that this was a great session. I feel myself lucky that I was able to join in and hear all the experiences that you share. And now I'll turn it over to Ramandeep ji and take on from here.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Murtaza. It was great listening to you as always. We've been listening to you from last 15 years. Oh. You're doing a great job. We've been watched almost all of your YouTube channels. You are a big personality, at least in my household, and never mind around the globe. You're doing pioneering work in Canada, outside of Canada, and also in Punjab. We would also like to thank from India Association of Manitoba all your sports staff, including Ms. Dillon, who helped in setting up all these sessions. Again, thank you very much. Just to the knowledge of our audience, I have shared the details on 3 more sessions happening next week and 2 in December on COVID, stress management, and domestic violence and abuse. As Mutta Sahib has indicated some good discussions that we can have with Winnipeg Police, we will be definitely following up on those ones. And we are more inclined to have you back in a couple of sessions on our seniors in our community and their state, as well as the international students. Sure. We will be back contacting your office, and we love to hearing from you. Unfortunately, this time we had only 1 hour planned, and graciously you went over time, and that's much appreciated. And next time we'll make sure that we plan this exercise for 2 hours.
Sure.
Again, thank you very much coming and talking to us. Back to Jyoti. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again to everyone. Again, much thanks to you for taking the time out. And again, as Ramandeep mentioned, you went over the time, and we really appreciate that. We look forward to everybody who joined in, and please spread the word. There is quite a bit of information that we're going to bring in next sessions. And as you can hear, like we are definitely working on bringing much more, conversations like this that would benefit each and everybody. So spread the word out, and we look forward to see you all next session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Murtaza.
Have a good night, everybody.
Dave, are you going to be posting this, the recording as well?